AMIX GT50 Pro, the official sponsor of not only this tournament, but the entirety of PMGO 2026. And of course, one thing that I really like is the fact it's got liquid cooling, which, since when do we have liquid cooling in phones? I didn't know that was even feasibly possible, but Infinix makes the impossible. In esports, right, is great. And even though it's not written down here, there's actually an esports mode, Jackie, in the phone, which, come on, okay, that since when does a phone have an esports mode? I don't know, Infinix just ahead of the rest when it comes to mobile gaming.
Yeah, they're making, you know, not only sort of ahead of the curve, but a brand new curve. They've got reinventing the wheel, but there you go. Big to see, so obviously shout out to them. I'm sure you'll see some of the sick plays that are happening on stage today off the back of that device. But if you're curious about where we're going to be, let's have a look at the format of the tournament overall. Of course, we're quite far through this now, Max. When we first showed this graphics, we were way back in calibration. Now we're all the way on the other side here in the finals.
Yep, finals, of course, is going to go from the 8th to the 10th, so we're going to be ending everything here this weekend. We do have the Smash ruling, by the way, into play, so something to keep into consideration as we end day 2 tomorrow, and especially enter into the final day tournament before making it to PMGO. With thousands of teams playing in their region and then able to make it through their PMNCs or PMCOs, then through knockout stage, last chance qualifiers, and now these 16 teams stand strong. And especially with the Smash ruling, this is going to be very exciting. The last day in particular, Jackie, is going to be absolute cinema, as we could have literally only 2 games here on that final day.
Yeah, exactly. You know, obviously the Smash rule adds another element of potential spice to things. Sometimes it doesn't come through, the prophecy is never fulfilled, but there's always that chance, and it can be very exciting to have that looming over our heads. So we'll dial in with that when it becomes more of a talking point a little bit later, and see if we'll get a Smash this time around. Let's check out the prize pool as well, of course. This is the sweet, sweet Skrilla that our teams are playing for. You can see it's got some 16 teams in the finals.
That's where you can get all the do-si-do here. Of course, 48k for the finals are going to be significant. We talked a lot about the rookie of the season, right? Who could be taking that one home? MVP. We'll see if Doc is willing to share that trophy. I don't think so. Doc typically is very hoarding mode when it comes to his MVP trophies, though this is going to be the overall breakdown, and your champions not only will be taking home $15,000, also will be advancing straight with the top 4 into PMGO Main Event in Jakarta, which is going to be very exciting. And actually, this weekend is going to be the first time outside of Team Pandem from SEA that we are going to be some teams fully qualified for PMGO Season 1, which is exciting to see what that lobby is going to kind of shape into. But this tournament is going to be very exciting. And we've seen, right, all the stories, Jackie, of these teams being built throughout calibration, mainly during knockout stage and also last chance. So it's fun to see how
shoulders above the rest, because as you can tell, mate, in terms of the prize pool breakdown there, specifically for the finals, you want to have a great finish on this one, not only for those slots, but for that increase of cash money that gets substantially bigger. Speaking of which, these are the squads that have made it through. You can see on the left-hand side of your screen, of course, those were the 4 teams that effectively got a free pass right through, right, Max? They absolutely smashed it in knockout and had their safety. The other squads on the right-hand side all joining them now, following an intense few days of last chance qualifier action.
Yeah, I mean, those 4 teams on the left side, TT Project, DG77, Aurora, and Vicious, made it all through straight away in the knockout stage. Also had a decent lead between the Vicious and Champion. Make it through in the last chance. Of course, the teams that didn't qualify to this point were Motion, KZ Esports, Star Soldiers Epic, and Metacourse. If you were a fan of those teams and you missed out on a few days of broadcast, those teams have ended their run early. But really, I would say some teams chance. I want to see AMIX step up massively. I want to see some comeback of like Champions Esports in particular, right? Those are teams that I think we initially went in this tournament with, okay, these could be top 4 in knockout and make it straight to the finals, but last chance was a bit of a weird one where teams that we expected to do so well just fell flat on their faces, and I'm expecting a comeback hopefully this weekend.
No, massively so. Especially sort of, you know, the Champions one as well. That was a terrifying sort of last ride they had for the viewers at home in the LCQ. It went down to effectively one targeted fight between them and Motion. If they didn't actually finish that one in the way they did, Max, we wouldn't even be speaking about Champions today. So obviously a big upwards draft needed for that roster. Mirror your sentiment as well with a message about AMIX, because, again, all they had was one big game, right? Otherwise, the rest of the LCQ was pretty timid from them, and that can't afford to happen here. They're a great squad. We were expecting big things from them. It just wasn't really there in the last chance qualifier. So hopefully, at least the fact is, we still get to see them for a few more days. They'll be able to run why they cleared that point threshold for top 4 so dominantly. They looked mechanically and individually like some of the best we've got in this lobby.
Yeah, I mean, actually, talking about the teams that made it through knockout right away in this tournament format, I have one, and this is serious, I'm genuinely serious about this. Do you think, Jackie, Aurora Gaming are going to troll today?
You know, the crazy thing is, through no fault of their own, I feel like day one will be very topsy-turvy. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if our first 2 to 3 games of the day here, Max, they are pulling some absolute shenanigans. If it doesn't go well, I imagine they'll wind it down, and it's either sort of like an all-in hard win or an all-in we go bust.
It really is just the Aurora way, it seems. But all I'm going to say, my only request is, Doc, if you see a hovercraft, just don't try and 1v1 the hovercraft, okay? It's like the meta in Eastern Europe, Central Asia, so just go the opposite side if possible. But actually, the team that did have the hovercraft up against Aurora during knockout was GOAT Team, and this is actually going to be my next topic I want to go on to. GOAT Team, I would say, dominating the entirety of last chance, being super consistent, getting 135 points, always getting close to that top 4, top 5 position every game, it seems like. But that was in a lobby where we didn't have TT Project, DG77, Vicious, Aurora Gaming. Can we expect similar results from GOAT Team keeping that in mind, or are they just going to fall flat on their faces knowing that the big dogs are now in this lobby? Because this is going to be way tougher to get consistent when this lobby is so much tougher in the finals.
I'd actually say, compared to what we had initially in Knockout from GOAT, where it was still looking good, but felt like it took a little while for them to sort of ease into it, here, I'm really hoping they flex those muscles early, Max, and disprove both of us, you know, come out swinging, upset the known quantities, because they're a great team. And their run, even back from the Club Open to where they are now, it would be awesome to see it. So fingers crossed for them. It would be cool to see GOAT Team playing well. This is the lay of the land of where they will have potential to steal away points from some of our best and brightest. Of course, we're starting it out on Rondo. We get our 3 Erangels in the mid-portion there, and then 2 Miramars to close us down towards the end of today's show on day 1 of finals. Obviously, same flow, Max. You know it. You love it. 6 games a day. Plenty of opportunity to get points. But the biggest one, plenty of opportunity
with their Infinix GT50 Pro, and even got their water bottles. Truly staying hydrated here on the Battlegrounds, Jackie, which you need to do if you want to qualify to PMGO.
Yeah, dude, you got to stay hydrated, play your best. Switched in as well. They've got the power there to work with, so no dying phones. That won't be a possibility with the bad boy tech they've got between their fingers. Nice to see all the players as well, Max, right? Obviously, you know, we've known that they're basically getting themselves ready. They're easing in. The pseudo LAN where we can't see them. But now we get to catch them in 4K as they make their plays.
Yeah, and we're seeing so many of the big players. We're seeing Hard Boy, Muller Boy, Bad Boy, all the boys. They're back again, right? It's going to be exciting to see which one out of those are going to do well. We're going to different POVs. I saw Fleek here there for ARCRED. Also a team very similar to GOAT Team, right? I would say, Jackie. The in last chance, definitely a way better showing. They got himself overall 2nd place in that position for that stage of the event. 110 points. Very slow start, but towards the end, able to build a lot of momentum. But you do have that break day. And I'm wondering, for teams that were looking so consistent, is that break day going to maybe just kind of hinder their consistency they had earlier on? Or is that a break day that was heavily needed? Because before that, it was 6 days back to back right until the end. So that break day, I think some teams are really going to reformat their drop locations, their early rotations, and their overall kind of strategy going into this tournament, because again, with the top 4 now joining the fray once again, you need to come up with a strategy if you want to be up there with the very, very best of EECA.
Mate, I think it's a good talking point because obviously it is one of those where for some teams, Max, they thrive in effectively that constant state of always being switched on, right? Where you're just in the flow state, you can just go game to game to game, and it's a known quantity. Yeah. I think for other sides, having that bit of downtime to rest and analyze the competition as well. Maybe if you're playing against teams you're not as familiar with from different domestic regions, it lets the coaching staff kind of unpack the bag so you're prepared. So it will be a curious narrative to see how it affects things, and we'll get answers to all of those questions and more here on Rondo. The players are ready, we're easing ourselves into the action for our opening plane bath, and we can kick off our finals. This is what we've been waiting for, what the teams have been fighting for such a lengthy period of time now. Started way back on the 1st of May. And we're here 7 days later with the 16 best teams in the competition. Starting it out on Rondo.
Yeah, it was a grueling week of action for all these teams to make it this far. But by the way, this is the best plane, Jackie, you could have asked for this Rondo. It goes over Yulin and Neox Factory, which we know those are the two main hardcore early game drop locations. Everyone likes to go for those spots. And Aurora in particular, they love a good old Yulin. We'll see if they commit for it. Looking at champions, they're going to be sending their way over to western side of test track. So it seems like they're not going to be fully committed. Of course, you want to go for that 3-1 drop early on. But AMIX and Afterlife already clashing in the fight. It's going to be good old Yulin. AMIX already up to 3 eliminations. They've done it already in style, eliminating the entire 3-man team of Afterlife in Yulin. And now the focus is going to be shifting over to champions that so far do surround their location. But AMIX are a little bit more secluded. They're over to the west. They don't have to force a fight they don't really want to commit to. As we also do have over here Ozarox. You have 777. You have Aurora. So everyone is joining the party in good old Yulin.
Yeah, pulling up early, mate. Red carpet's down. They want to start things out. Already got a few of those elims being racked up from AMIX, but it's a far better flavor that they're showing us initially here. Ozarox as well gave us so much to be excited about previously, and I'm glad they're coming out swinging, handling themselves in the early encounter. They do match the output of opening elims with AMIX, and that was up against champions, by the way. So again, their reign of unfortunate starts to games from the LCQ seems to be continuing, Max. They can't quite come in with a hot hand. Sideline swipe, though, from Tapok onto Havlik, and he gets lit up. So AMIX might buckle somewhat now with the pressure mounting.
Oh, that's a good off angle, secured by 27+. A team that also has been somewhat topsy-turvy throughout the entirety of this tournament, though that's going to be another off angle secured by the man himself. It's good old Doc. Able to find himself that angle, instantly able to flush out Spike, so that's going to be a nice early elimination secured by Aurora Gaming. You can see here some frags have been secured. There is a recall tower inside of the city. I would not recommend committing to it because if you die twice in a row, that is your 2 lives down the drain instantly. So you will not have a second option after. Again, one against the world, it seems, as he's surrounded by foes.
Because some game gets a bit more serious. It's going to be far harder for those decisions to be as beneficial. You can see those nades. Because actually know exactly where he is, but the quicker throw might force, but he runs straight out onto the outer skirting and is seen by nibbling on the leftover bits.
The thing is about Yulin in particular, as a city, it's very open between specific buildings. So if you have players transition and keep actual flush and elimination being secured, not sure. But still, able to get some good damage on the board. Aurora really struggling to defend their spot, and that is going to be actually flushed out into it. So 27+ are looking confident because there's really low risk. There's a very slim chance that they might just get fully squad wiped with their 3-1 engage. Now over to another side of the map. It's going to be good old Vicious here. Over to the east of phase 1 circle. Good shots coming in from Koa. Looking to convert it instantly, swapping on over maybe to his DBS and CQC, but Retro's looking for the engage. He wants to save his teammate. The S12K is going to be connecting for Retro, and Icy will be there to reclaim Koa from a distance and go for the recall.
Try as he might to get that flush then. Not possible with a quick response time. We get another little glint of the POV of 27+ as well. Now playing up behind the rafters. Ooh, and the peek out from Joel is perfectly timed. Good damage from the elevated peak. Unloads onto Aslan Boy. They will 7+. It's a good response. Dive out from Joel. Ooh, they didn't expect the smooth moves, and the acrobatics of this man pay off.
Yeah, it was a really good plan, by the way. They sent Top back into the fight because he had that extra life. You know that he was the one that recalled his 2 squad mates earlier of Reefus and Doc, so he's the one that can be on the front line joining up with Ziol. So it's a really good strategy overall. But 27+, they woke up and they mean business on day 1 of finals, loving the overall gameplay. 6 eliminations, elimination leaders of the entire lobby. We'll have to go for the recall very soon, though, which they do have a split, so it shouldn't be too hard to execute. But I don't know what it is, Jackie. I just looked at the map feed. We have another river finish. We keep having those in EECA. I don't know why. Yeah. It's a circle magnet up there. And it's going to be almost a 50-50 split here. It's kind of looking like a yin-yang position right now. With that position, you've got the positive side up north and the negative side down south. The team's in really good spots. GOAT team in particular, I think they were up to 5 elims. Team that dominated during the last chance. We'll see if they can build off the back of that. But GOAT, their position, if it heads anywhere near north, they could have an absolute banging top 5 finish off the back of that position.
And for them, I suppose it is legitimately about beginning as they mean to proceed, where obviously, you know, that kind of answers the question of, are they going to look a bit scared? Are they a bit slower, having that slight time where they could reset, have an off day? Well, at the minute, it's worked pretty well mechanically. They're hitting their shots. Positioning looks good as well. So a little bit of luck could go a long way. This is a roster we haven't really had time to speak about yet, though. Been a bit quiet. DG77, good to have him back in the lobby.
Coming your way. The Raver, yeah, his car in really bad shape, so he's going to be stuck here for a hot minute. As also TT Project looking their way. So knowing TT Project, they were kind of like one of the most consistent team, I would say, Jackie, during knockout. Able to get these positions time and time and time again. They're just so good on the macro aspect of their gameplay. So because of that,
yeah, I think that's why it's perfectly acceptable as well, where if we're not seeing too much from them, it's sort of the first... more a team that focuses on their late game placement, the positional play, and then still finds ways to get important picks to give themselves a good elim bubble as well. So yeah, it's nice to have them back, like we touched on, right? I think all 4 of those top teams were sorely missed from the element of sort of high-tier PUBG Mobile. So we'll see how that spices up the lobby, specifically what I'm thinking when we get into Erangel as well today. Could be a nice element there. Little bit quieter though right now. It's finally hit that mid portion where teams have been running to run low on recalls. The towers are becoming more lucrative, so everyone's not as willing to run their entire life through a blender for 1 or 2 points.
I mean, the thing is also when you have a lot more in the center of the map where it's greener over there when you can touch grass, but here there's going to be a lot less available. I believe in the circle itself there's almost none. I'm looking at, yeah, I believe there's just none available. So if you do go for the fight, it's actually going to be decent for like TT Project, Avalanche, DG77, as they do have still a lot of recalls, and even Destine to Rise have a lot of recalls. I was actually talking about Destine to Rise, going to have a bit of a clash with TT Project, it seemed like, and TT Project not losing a single player, not wasting any life, and still getting 2 eliminations. That's a strong, strong trade-off for this team. Though, I did see the circle shift once again, and it is going to be another 50-50 split on the river. This is our 3rd game in this exact area, Jackie. Why does it keep happening? I don't know, but these teams now have a ton of experience in this location. They should know every nook and cranny of this terrain and hopefully leverage it to get themselves a strong finish on game 1.
Yeah, you've been given the groundwork. It's all just about the follow-through. Oh, mate. Avalanche. Feels weird that it's been quiet from them on Rondo with how much they were being able to squeeze out of this previously in the LCQ. But up against Aurora and co, it'd be a hard fight to actually achieve too many nice elims on this one. Talking of which, still points being acclimated there on the side of GOAT as they rise up to 2nd place off of elims alone in the lobby. Tied with AMIX and Aurora, 5 in the back pocket. Ozarox joining them as well. 27+. Looking like they've been having a good run of things on this game. Taking Jewel off, could be up to 8 here If you could just get that adjustment shot off over towards Havlik, Ruzen's low. Rest of the squad trying to create space between one another. Paranoid about the backstab from GOAT as Focus fires some bullets downrange.
I mean, you should be scared. You're surrounded by AMIX, by Vicious, by GOAT Team, by Champions. 27 plus if they can. They're not even in circle. Better to just get in your car and get the hell out of Dodge. It's not worth it at this point, but unfortunately the Blue's going to start ticking harder and harder. We'll have to consume your meds if you want to survive. Out of the zone, and he goes down south of the river. So this is great for Aurora, for Avalanche, TT Project. The dash, though, over the water for any of these northern teams is going to be insanely tough because you do not have bridges in this particular area. You have one bridge next to Afterlife, but that is going to be in the blue in the next minute or so. So if you want to go for that rotate, you better be quick and swift about it. Otherwise, the blue zone might be then the top frag of this game. I wouldn't be too surprised. This is going to be unkind to this lobby. Vicious Narvalo able to find a nice knock for himself onto GOAT. Though Ozarox up to 6 eliminations. This team has woken up massively during the entirety of Last Chance. And it seems like they don't even need the Pachinki loot truck to do well. Up to 6 elims. We'll see if they can get maybe a 7th onto Retro. Though the nade will be tanked. Will be able to go for the first aid himself. Go for the peak. Good damage onto Bad Boy here. Gonna have to go instantly for the first aid. Retro might be low on util. So that's gonna permit Bad Boy to get back to 75% HP. But this 1v1 is taking so long that DG77 and seen on the mid.
They can catch LOS onto him down here. This awkward battle with the Gulch that's resulting in time being the big factor. The blue slowly eating away at Bad Boy. Can't really stop the rock realistically over the pop in the meds and hoping eventually you'll get the shot off. But no, not meant to be. That's the connection back over on Ozarox. So goodbye, Bad Boy. The Bulls go down. 7 elims is all they muster on this one. Decent, but not enough for a late game finish. DG77 as well, taking the scrap straight to Afterlife and removing 2 members from the equation there. So being able to punish on their bigger rotate, effectively backstabbing up towards Mad & Co as well. Retro from TGM still alive. He's going to eventually look to try and solo snake his way back up further towards the zone. Sadira does find Zixi swimming in the blue. Bullets towards him, but barely with a bubble of oxygen lives for now.
I was going to say, wait, isn't the blue? No, the water's blue. It was like, oh, okay. I was like, wait, this is in zone. He's okay. He's safe. That's going to be a really good knock, and he's going to be, unfortunately, drowning to his death. That's going to be 27 plus, also fully eliminated out of this game. So all the teams that got early high elimination counts here have been completely swept under the rug. 27 plus, Ozarox, GOAT, TGM maybe to follow suit very soon in that kind of trend. So right now, the teams in the middle of the pack in particular, that got around the 4-3 elimination mark are looking to be true contenders for this chicken dinner. Good nade, though, from Effect. Able to hold off. Up-and-coming team over at Southeast as Vicious. Also, they had a little bit of a break day. They qualified straight through knockout. Demo also will be traded back and forth. So far, things are not looking great because champions sure have position, which is not the case for all of Vicious. So they got to try and make sure they can reposition a bit deeper. Thing is, set up for success. Koa, Doran trying to keep the dream alive in game 1. They're going to be right next door with Mad. They're going to be neighbors as the nade's raining on down in that spot. The nade looking good. It might find the knock. It does get the damage on 2 members, but unfortunately not converted as here we go. Koa raining out. Champions of Vicious in an unescapable position as Koa survives as a solo.
Yeah, punishing stuff here. Got to cut your losses and completely give up. Doran, no chance to stay alive, and that sentiment could also be mirrored on Koa here as the bullets will connect. It's pre-pod way off in the distance, able to light his eyes up and take down the Vicious. So they fall. 7th place finish for them inside of the game currently with 5 elims tied in that mid-portion bubble with a lot of our squads. This could be a prime opportunity for someone else to start to rise up now. Your DG, your TT, ARCRED even, or Aurora. Possibly thinking, all right, take a deep breath. Differ on that side of things. 6 amongst a magnitude of different bits of cover. Trying to keep himself out of trouble. Here's the crash as they do unload. Nomi armed with a heavy weaponry. Absolutely gats them on the crash into TT. Freezer seeing the nades flying towards him as he'll commit onto Effect as well, but the bombardment delivers.
Yeah, that's going to be a mini red zone here, dealt right on the heads of DG. Pre-pot, though, getting a good angle with a backup of Zadira, so that's going to be a deadly duo. Can they get the champions or even ARCRED south of this spot? So you've got to be quick and swift about it. As Yol able to also have a bit of a clash with ARCRED. So Aurora still looking healthy this match. We'll see if they can convert it into a high top 3 elimination game. But most of the teams are in circle except for already champions that still not only have to get in zone, but also have to cross the river. So champions, haven't they cut their work cut out for them in match 1? Not an easy one. And actually, oh, this cover flare setup, Jackie, they felt like the perfect angle to create this kind of fortress for himself. So could be really useful later on down the line.
Thought he had a chance to really flex his muscles on this one, but off the back of revealing himself with the initial tag damage down onto Zera, it all goes wrong incredibly quickly as DG77 are starting to clean up. Tied first place now in terms of the elims, but Aurora are vying for control once more up against ARCRED, and that reactor's gone cold. We say goodbye to them out in 6th place, just outside of getting themselves into a safety net of point earning from the placement points. So Aurora looking scary as well. Some of our big fish trying to scrap. Didn't expect champions to pull any punches on this one as they roam back over. Good initial engagement. Kino suspicious of the repeat from Prepod as well. Bides his time.
Mortem nade there, able to connect onto Kino. Though he's got the first aid. That was actually going to be his last first aid. Now he's got 1 med kit remaining. Come on, Prepod, got 1 nade. You better make it count. It's looking good on the angle, but a little bit too short. Fearless will be able to make it over to Kino. Freezer trying to make his way to the cover flare to just give more insight of when the recall is being pulled. So Prepod's going to use that intel to make the push forward down this hilltop and not get him punished. It really seems like Fearless is really committed to the hill on his teammate. As unfortunately, it's too late. Freezer will get flushed out, and so will Prepod. That's going to be still a strong finish from DG, able to make it so far in this game top 4. But now the top 3 teams remaining in this match is going to be 2 Mongolian teams in Aurora and Champions, and also the Uzbekistan team of AVALANCHE that have had so much success in the past on Rondo. Can they convert their second Rondo chicken dinner of the tournament right here?
Hey man, it's one thing to do it in the LCQ in style, but if they can do it to kick off the actual finals themselves, it would be a miraculous feat for AVALANCHE. Instantly snow the competition under and show us what you're made of. Crazy to see as well that storyline, the age-old adage of Aurora and Champions fighting against one another and actually being in these late game circles has again reared its head. It was a rough LCQ for Champions, but looking far better here. Top with the Erangel, and they do trade 1 for 1. Opportunities to recover that man are slim to none, and if you anger Butcher, you best be ready for the blade.
Really good timing from AVALANCHE. Sure, you do lose Groza, but you reclaim this high ground position away from the grasp of Aurora. And now they still got some util. They've still got a few grenades willing to chuck them at their enemy. Going to be Top also down to just 3 more nades, but it's looking good. Top, he hits it perfectly onto Butcher. Molodoy and Tommy still the surviving duo. Butcher's going to be a bit of a hard rest to commit to as they know exactly where they're hiding behind that rock. But one team that's not involved in this fight here, Jackie, is Champions. They still got 2 players in Kino and Fearless. They're up north. They're not involved. If the timing's right, this could be a Champions win, as that is going to be the end of the line. AVALANCHE wrecked in that finish, not able to reach the silver medal. There's now the 2v2, the Mongolian team versus the other Mongolian Brethrens. Champions versus Aurora for the win on match 1. Has really good use of the vehicles here from Top, and Reefers looking to take control down south, going for a 1-1 split. And same for Champions, meaning if you are in this split and you do get knocked, that reset, that recall on your teammate is just not going to happen.
You got to win your ones effectively. Play your individual firefight to perfection, as it can be the difference between the chicken. Reefers on the move, sprinting between cover to cover, trying to stay tucked in behind the trees. Eyeline set towards the backside there, scouting the hillside to see if he can catch a read on where exactly the Champions players are. Not privy to all of the information right now. Slightly further around, Fearless as well, in a good position with the zone moving towards them. Kino can eventually start to readjust.
There's actually a really good ridge line in the center of the circle next to that airdrop that just came down from the heavens. And also one big highlight is that Kino's got 5 nades. The only good amount of cover you have in this circle are trees and rocks, really prone for nade damage. So if Kino is on the money with that util, that alone could convert this into a chicken dinner match 1. And this is a team that we said, right, we need to see more from. They were so disappointed in the previous stages. And now, I don't know what happened, but they just had a realization that actually they are good at PUBG Mobile. They are some of the best teams out there. and they can take a win, maybe, against one of the best squads in the world. Reefer's top, also decent amount of util. 3 nades in the arsenal of top himself. But again, they're so split. You lose one player, your entire setup falls apart, crumbles to pieces. It's top. Good angle. He does have the JS9, not playing with any DMR this game in particular.
Only issue with that is, will this come down to paralysis by analysis, perhaps, for the Aurora side? If they go for a bit of a fragmented push on this, lose one player, it could quickly start to unravel. Top in the driving seat again, links up with Reefus.